Alright, Shalom. Before I begin this video, all praise, honor, and glory goes into Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone, GMS, who rule well and teach well and taught us his truth, as well as the sincere salutations to the elder bishops, along with you brothers who are pushing this word, the doctrine of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, Bashem Rakakwadash, all throughout the four winds of the earth in sincerity and in faith. To you, I say Shalom. I'm gonna, just play the video, but in Russia, different social medias are being, banned, such as Facebook, WhatsApp, so on and so forth. And, eventually, it's going to be over here as well, the famine of the word coming. The C-hip coming. That's right around the corner. I'm going to go ahead and play the video.
Meta-owned messaging platform says Moscow has fully blocked its services in the country, and this decision could affect over 100 million users. But this isn't just about one app. It's about how the country, led by President Vladimir Putin, has been steadily reworking its digital space. According to WhatsApp, Russian authorities are trying to push users away from the platform, preferring people to use a state-backed messaging app. WhatsApp says this undermines privacy, but Russian officials argue foreign tech firms must comply with local laws. It's the latest front in a long-running battle. Before WhatsApp, it was Telegram facing the crackdown. Well, on Tuesday, Russia's internet watchdog announced that access to Telegram will be restricted because Telegram has failed to remove what Russia deems to be terrorist content. Users say they have already noticed a difference.
Yes, the last 2 days Telegram has been loading slowly, every day. It's the only messenger I use in everyday life. We have a different one for work anyways. I'll have to stay out of touch. I'm not planning to do that for now. I'm not considering it for myself.
I was just discussing this with a friend who also runs a business that relies heavily on Telegram, and now we're thinking about it. Obviously, any solutions will be makeshift, some apps of our own, some solutions, other measures. We'll figure it out and get creative. Is this bad overall? Of course it's bad.
Russia's fight with Telegram dates back to 2018. Moscow tried to block it after the platform refused to hand over encryption keys to security services. But Russians kept using the app through workarounds. By 2020, the Kremlin quietly lifted the ban, but then came 2022 and the war in Ukraine. Russia blocked Facebook and Instagram, accusing Meta of extremist activity. X, formerly known as Twitter, was also restricted. Apple and Google, too, were pressured to remove apps and content. YouTube has also been accused of waging an information war. And the broader policy is simple: digital sovereignty. The idea is that Russia should be able to control its own information flows and not rely on Western technology. For Russia, this is about national security in a world where the social media landscape is an important part of soft power for countries around the globe. Rights groups argue that each ban or restriction narrows the space for dissent. And caught in the middle of this digital war are ordinary citizens. So from Meta to Telegram to Apple, Moscow's message is simple: operate under Russian rules or face the consequences. WhatsApp is not the first target and may not be the last. So the question is, does more domestic filtering of the internet make a country safer? Or does it make the internet less global or more open to government interference? For the Russian authorities, at least, the answer is clear. But for ordinary citizens, communicating online may become a lot more murky.
He rebuilt Egypt's pride after defeat. He turned victory into legitimacy. Then he chose peace with Israel. He broke an Arab consensus, he challenged his own military. He silenced his critics at home. But then, one day, on a national parade ground, in front of cameras, in front of the world, gunmen stepped forward and killed Anwar Sadat. It changed Egypt overnight. The assassination, Saturday at these times, only on First Post.
Has criticized Russian authorities for what it's calling Moscow's attempt to fully block access to the messaging app, which is used by some 100 million Russians. Moscow claims this is about sovereignty and safety, saying that the app allegedly failed to cooperate with law enforcement cracking down on fraud and terrorism. Critics, though, say this is simply a further push towards digital isolationism in Vladimir Putin's increasingly authoritarian Russia. Well, let's talk about this then with Douglas Herbert, our foreign affairs commentator. Hello, Doug. Well, what do you make of this then? The Kremlin's argument that this is about safety and security, whereas there are others who say, look, this is about freedom of expression.
Yeah, well, the first thing I make of this, Nadia, is this is not today's headline. Specifically WhatsApp is now in the crosshairs, but we have seen really since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine back in back in 2022, we have seen an increasing tightening of the screws, of the noose, if you will, on a free internet, on social media in Russia, amid a general tightening on civil society and other types of free expression. So this is all part and parcel of that intensification of a crackdown on free expression, on dissent, on any ability to move within sort of a free civic society space. That said, what's going on here with WhatsApp especially, and we've had also now Telegram in the crosshairs, is you've essentially had both of them almost entirely, if not entirely, erased from the internet. That is, that the ability of Russians to freely access WhatsApp, which is right now the most popular messaging app in Russia, about 100 million users, has been all but blocked unless you're very savvy and have VPNs and all of that. But this is a sabotage effort that has been underway for months. If you go back to almost last summer and early autumn, you had basically, if you tried to make video or voice calls on either WhatsApp or on Telegram, you got like a metallic, a sort of buzzing sound. It was very hard. The technology was being installed to impede the ability to really make clear calls. On the state-sanctioned, Kremlin-backed, domestic, state-controlled app, Max it's called, the super app, like the Chinese one, crystal clear calls. Communication, absolutely perfect. Coincidence? I think not. What you basically have wrapped up in different packaging, as you said, the Kremlin is claiming this is about a sovereign internet. This is about our state security. This is about cracking down on fraud and terrorism unregulated by the app providers. What you can also say this is about, and make a very legitimate argument, this is about sort of cutting off Russians from both Western technology, that is non-foreign technology in these apps, and any other foreign influences, cutting the outside world, cutting it out so that you can have your own domestic state-controlled app that is better able to corral, to police the way Russians users use the internet. It is basically saying authoritarian states and free-ranging social media and internet, they don't go well hand in hand.
And how is WhatsApp and indeed Telegram responding to what Moscow's doing?
Yeah, well, WhatsApp, remember, owned by Meta, they've been very categorical, as you said at the outset. They see this as a blatant, egregious attempt to fully block access to a very popular messaging app. They're saying that it represents a, quote, backward step. That's what they've been saying, their spokespeople. And they say that it could actually lead to less safety for Russian citizens. Contrary to the claims of the Kremlin that this is about security and going after fraud and terrorists, less safety, they say they are doing everything possible to keep users connected. Now, Pavel Durov, who is the billionaire entrepreneur behind Telegram, which also has, I think, 55 to 60 million users in Russia. It's used by a lot of the military as well. He says I'm quoting, restricting access to a Telegram to force its citizens into a state-controlled app built for surveillance and political censorship. That's how he sees this. He says this authoritarian mood won't change that is Telegram's course. Telegram's is going to continue to stay the course for freedom and privacy no matter the pressure. So he very much following the same line as WhatsApp. He says that he sees a free, unrestricted messaging service as actually crucial to creating a free environment for free expression in Russia. So they've pushed back hard.
And look, just finally, Doug, what can Russians do, if anything? You mentioned VPNs, but to try and get around these bans. I mean, WhatsApp is pretty crucial for most people.
Getting harder for them, Nadia, to use VPNs. A few months ago, and all these bans, first the restrictions started coming into place. If you went on to, say, Facebook, Instagram, you still saw tons of Russians on them. You're like, well, how are they using it? They were using VPNs. The thing is, Russia, Putin, is catching up. He's basically passed a lot of legislation, making it basically illegal for Russians to search for what he calls, in quotes, extremist content under these laws. How do you enforce this, really? The VPN providers themselves are facing such economic duress.
And, eventually, this is going to be coming to America. Just a complete removal, of the quote-unquote freedom of speech. These different I believe it's an article. I need to find that as well. But I'm going to get a couple precepts. Alright, this is the book of Amos, chapter 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So, more and more control, more and more, shutting down of information, and ultimately it's going to lead to, scriptures, being illegal. All the freedom of speech, all that being thrown out the window. Right? And then ultimately, you're not going to see the men of the Lord, putting out videos or being out on the highways and byways. Which there's a significance to that. Starting off with the elder apostles of Great Millstone on down, done been out there, week in and week out. It says verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, and from the north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of the Lord, and shall not find it. Yeah, so while the door is open, to the Israelites, it's best for the Israelites, us being the Israelites, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, turning to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, repenting to our power, turning to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, while we have the chance, while, we have the opportunity. Because soon, it's going to be famine of the word. Verse 13, in that day shall the fair virgins and young men faint for thirst. They that swear by the sin of Samaria, and say, Thy God, O Dan, liveth, and the manner of Beersheba liveth, even they shall fall and never rise up again. Yes, so, coming up against the Lord, doing what you want to do, that's going to end horribly. Because everybody, in these times, that they looking, to the opposite side. If the Lord is on the right, hand side, and they looking all the way on the left. Far from righteousness. That's 2/3 of our people. Actually, Amos 9:8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, are upon the sinful kingdom, right, America, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations. All right, so the Israelites are scattered throughout the four winds of the earth. It says, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So the Lord is going to gather all his elect of the nation of Israel. All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword, which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. All right, and part of the evil, part of that bad time is that famine of the word. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as the days of old, that they may possess the remnant of Edom and of all the heathen, which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Woo! Esau, you going into slavery. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes him that soweth seed. And the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt, new leadership. And I will bring again the captivity of my people of Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, and they shall no more be pulled up out of their land which I have given them, saith the Lord thy power. And that's what's coming, up next for the elect of the nation of Israel, man. Because it's tightening down, circling back, to the beginning of the video. It's tightening down. We right around the corner. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. For the devil, right, you saw Edom, the so-called white man as a nation, right, the whole nation. Yet specifically, this is speaking about, the quote-unquote elite, of Esau, Edom, the top, international bankers. All right, it says, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. So he coming in, everything he got, he's spending billions and billions to distract the Israelites, to, try to sway them against, knowing who they are, spending billions to prop up the heathen. so that it's appealing, so that, 2/3 of Israel, they love the lifestyle of the heathen. So Esau, he props that up, living like a heathen. That's the new thing to be. Because these heathens, all they do is commit wickedness, all right, and relax. And that's what Jake want to do. Two-thirds of Israel specifically. He just want to turn up, party, bullshit, talk shit. All right, all that's out of here, man. We stepping into the time where, Esau is really going to be, putting his claws, he's going to be putting his claws around this place, man. All right, this devil going to come in, like a flood soon. Obadiah 1 and 4. Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. Yes, so, Esau, he's that eagle, his claws, he gonna show his claws, man. Coming real soon. And part of that ban, the different social media, that goes into place when enough people are getting their block knocked off to where, people going to be posting. It's going to be too many posts going up. So they got to ban it. People going to be trying to upload different videos. All right, and ultimately they're doing it to attempt to take the truth away, which is too late. The truth is already out. Like the Elder Pastor Har always says, GMS, Great Millstone, has gone global. All right, the doctrine of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua has gone global. Going down to verse 6, Obadiah 1 and 6. How are the hidden things of Esau searched out? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. How are his hidden things sought up? All right. And that's the Holy Spirit putting that magnifying glass on Esau Edom to reveal who he is. All right. The so-called white man, he's the devil that the Bible speaks of. He is that liar, that murderer, that thief, killer, that rapist, that thug, criminal, psychopath. Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man. And all the way at the top, you have the elite of Esau Edom. Right, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, DuPonts, Gettys, Vanderbilts, so on and so forth. And they got their little small time to rule. But we in the last moments. We waiting for that C-hip. We waiting for them to, really put the foot down. Full control. Because with the banning of the social media, okay, now they can't complain about the different shit that's happening. That's what they're thinking in their mind. Okay, if we take away the social media, okay, now they can't share the information. All right, they banning YouTube, banning WhatsApp, which we use all those. You know, brothers don't use Facebook, but we use the other apps, right? Mainly YouTube, and then of course WhatsApp as well. Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. Yes, so you through. You're done. You can try to cut the light off, leave people in the dark, but the message is already out. So we all for it. All right, we want them to shut all the social media down. We want every day we get closer and closer. It get worse and worse. It's getting, crazier and crazier out here. We love it through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Shah. We waiting for them to present the C-Hip, all hell breaking loose. All right, because with all this, when you're going to see people going from house to house spoiling and being spoiled, they don't want that on social media. They want to get rid of social media. All right, they're going to have different EMPs, different things like that are going to be taking place. All right, it's going to get bad out here. All right, famine of the word coming, just circling back to the beginning. All right, so with that, Lord's will, you are edified. Call halal Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Akakwadash. Double honors once again to the elder apostles of Great Millstone. GMS, who rule well and teach well, taught us his truth, as well as the sincere salutations to the elder bishops, along with you brothers who are laboring all throughout the four winds of the earth. All right, in sincerity and in faith. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Akakwadash Barakatham. And to you brothers. And Kwam Yashala and Abba Ball. We almost up out of here, man. They shutting down the social media. This is coming in waves because we obviously know that this is going to be worldwide. They got, just like the C-Hip, they're going to be bringing out the C-Hip worldwide. They're pushing everything on a worldwide scale. They're pushing the oppression, and they're pushing the illusions, the witchcrafts. They're pushing it worldwide. And the elect is not going to fall for it. The elect is going to endure until the end. Lord's will we be of the elect of the nation of Israel. The Baba Ball and Kwam Yashala. Shalom.